Hey there, Scott Dickers of How to Write Funny, here on vacation on the lovely Big Island, the Kona side of the island, and I thought I would do a video about Louis C.K., who won the Grammy for Best Comedy Album yesterday, and it's got me thinking about it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, if you have any thoughts about it. I've been delighted to see personally, I mean, delighted is a strong word, but pleased, I guess I'll say, that some of the women who Louis C.K. assaulted have come out and have integrated jokes about him doing that in their acts. So Jen Kirkman is one that I saw, and there was another one. Tragically, can't remember her name right now, but Jen Kirkman was on my podcast, and delightful comedian, does so many things right, and she's doing great. And unfortunately, she was a victim of Louis C.K. So I have a lot of thoughts about this. Obviously, it's connected with cancel culture and everything else. And that whole word, cancel culture, just kind of bothers me because what it really means is men who have historically gotten away with horrific abusive behavior because no one would tell on them, and the system kind of forgave them and supported them and didn't care about women coming forward, or didn't care about doing any kind of investigation or looking into any allegations. Whereas now, after the Me Too movement, we listen to women because we know that women don't falsely report abuse. The instances of that are like 0.01%. It's incredibly rare. And when it does happen, you can kind of tell that it's fake. Women have no incentive to come forward. They get so much hate and so much grief, and it makes them vulnerable. It really exposes them, and it's really awful and uncomfortable. It re-traumatizes them in so many ways. Why would they do it? Well, they do it because it's true and it's real and it happened, and they feel like if they say something, that allows them to take back some of the power. It could help prevent other women from getting abused. There's a lot of good reasons to do it, and it's unfortunate they have to be put in that position. So somebody like Louis C.K., who was at the top of the game, he was literally recognized by everyone as the best stand-up comic going. And like an idiot, he exposes himself in front of a bunch of women, which is totally unwanted abuse. And he's confronted about it. People know about it. They're allowed to have an opinion about it. He has an opportunity to take account of it and face the music. This is new. This is not how it used to be. You didn't used to have to face the music. Yeah, Brandon, I agree with you. The term cancel culture is almost knee-jerk applied to any kind of criticism or disapproval by anyone, which is so stupid. Everybody has the right to disapprove and criticize someone, especially someone who puts themselves out there as a public figure who's doing any kind of entertainment. You're putting yourself out there. Like, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. So somebody like Louis C.K., who is so brazenly out there doing great, he, you say Louis C.K. should not be canceled? I'd be curious to know your reasoning behind that. Because, again, like Brandon's saying, when I hear cancel culture, I hear, oh, someone has a criticism or someone disapproves of that person's behavior and therefore can't enjoy their work like they did before. That's kind of how I see cancel culture. So do you think somebody should be able to get away with behavior that would get you put in jail if the system worked, and expect women or victims of abuse to watch that person, entertain them, and make jokes to them? One of the most foundational things about doing stand-up comedy is you have to put the audience at ease, and you have to sort of be a safe person to make jokes and observations that people can laugh at. And if you're Bill Cosby, if you're Louis C.K., you've destroyed that foundation, because there's a lot of people, and I'm one of them. I have a really hard time watching Louis C.K., especially when he does bits about masturbating. He does a lot of masturbation comedy. It gives me the creeps, and I just can't. It's like, Louis C.K. ruined Louis C.K. for me, and certainly Bill Cosby did. So everybody has that right. Everybody has the right to decide, not interested in him anymore, don't want to watch him anymore. So the idea that people would rail against that as cancel culture, you're basically saying other people shouldn't be allowed to have opinions. Other people shouldn't be allowed to decide whether or not to watch a comedian. That's ridiculous. Of course, everybody has that right. Hugh, you say Louis C.K. and his management team threatened to end the careers of the women that he assaulted if they came forward with allegations. Same old story. Same old tragic story. It's Harvey Weinstein all over again. And so, yeah, I'm proud of people like Jen Kirkman who have come forward with bits about Louis C.K. exposing himself to her, because those threats by management, if that's true, that's alleged. I don't know if that's true. I'm sure you have it on good authority, Hugh. Oh, and you just worked with one of the writers who knows one of the women. So maybe she was a direct victim of that bullying and that threatening. They, it's a hollow threat. It's empty. They're bluffing. So that's what the whole Me Too movement is about. Like, so many people don't come forward because they're afraid of all the consequences, that they're going to be smeared and they're going to be ruined. So the more people come out, the safer they are in number. Brandon, you say the term cancel culture is almost a cheat code for scummy comics to get out of whatever they do. Yeah, I feel like a lot of scummy men, it's always men, are worried about getting canceled because of what they're talking about. And if you can't handle a little criticism, first of all, just don't rape anybody, don't assault anybody, don't whip your dick out in front of strangers or women who look up to you and abuse your position of power. It's just the worst thing you can do. So if you do that, there might be some repercussions. And one of those repercussions is that a lot of people are going to be like, you give me the creeps now. I'm not interested in watching you. And that's got to be okay. Brandon, I'm with you there. I wish Woody Allen hadn't done that either. It's so tragic how so many of these giants of comedy in the last 50 years all turn out to be just absolute monsters and creeps. It's really unfortunate. His 3 books are the basis of most of your humor. Yeah, Woody Allen was a huge influence on me growing up. I read his Without Feathers book. It's one of the first comedy books I ever read. And his movies were a huge influence. Maybe it helps to somewhat distinguish, this is Nigel speaking, maybe it helps to somewhat distinguish canceling unlikable jokes, which is risky for comedy, and canceling someone for ethical reasons, good to prevent further abuse. Yeah, so one of the benefits of so-called canceling someone is maybe you're saving future victims, because if you take some of the power away from a Harvey Weinstein or a Louis C.K. or a Bill Cosby, they won't be able to use as much power to rope in more victims. So that's another reason it gives me the creeps to see Louis C.K. do well and sell tickets directly through his website. Like, he's definitely down a peg or two, like, in the cultural esteem because of what happened, but he's still thriving. He's still doing fine. And it bothers me because that means he still has power and he can still abuse more women. And full disclosure, I know Louis C.K. We were going to work together on a show. Well, we actually did work together on one show. We were going to work together on another show. We worked on the Dana Carvey show together, but we never met on that show. And then we were going to do an Onion show together. But I haven't talked to him in a long time. And, but I feel like it's at least fair to disclose that I actually know him. So what are your thoughts on Louis C.K.? what are your thoughts on cancel culture? Should we celebrate people for the comedy they do and not care about their behavior off stage, even if that behavior is incredibly gross and illegal and harmful to other people in the business, people who look up to that person? Is it okay for everyone to have their own opinion about a comedian like Louis C.K. and decide for themselves whether they want to see him or not see him? Like I'm saying, in a just system, what Louis C.K. did was assault. And why is he out free? Why is he not in jail? Bill Cosby was in prison, got off on a technicality. Why is Woody Allen free? Well, we know why Woody Allen is free, because he's got a lot of money and he fights viciously in court. I don't know if anybody saw that documentary about him. It was really disturbing. But, the justice system in America, it doesn't really favor the just. It favors the money. So people with the most money typically win. And so, all we have is public opinion. We have what do they call that? Not tried by the media, but jury by public opinion, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So, he's got a Grammy now. He's going to display that Grammy in his house. Bill Cosby probably has a ton of Grammys. And, we don't have to like it, I think where it gets tricky for people is when there's an official sanction, when, for example, his Grammy gets taken away, or Will Smith's Oscar gets taken away, or something like that. All we regular people who don't run the Grammys and the Oscars and everything else, is our opinion. So that has power in great numbers. So I think the people performing comedy do have a responsibility to be decent people, to be safe people, to be people who we can relax and be comfortable laughing at. I just think that's square one. And I don't have a problem at all with the horrific behavior of people like Louis C.K. coming to light in a way that it didn't, before Me Too. I think it's helpful. It's good to know. Like, let's know who these people are, so we know whether we should respect them or listen to them, or aspire to be like them. Nigel, your chief worry. While comedians need thick skin in the face of criticism, comedians shouldn't be able to hide behind clout or use their bad actions as a shtick, i.e., the opposite pendulum swing. Yeah, Louis C.K. had an opportunity when this first came out to disappear. He did disappear for a good long while. He had an opportunity to come out after that disappearance and say, oh my God, what have I done? I did horrible things, and I've learned, and I've set up a fund, to help the victims. I'm going to be a tireless advocate for victims of sexual assault. That would have been the smart PR move. Instead, he kind of came out and said, you're trying to cancel me. I didn't do anything wrong. Just blew it, totally blew it. And that's unfortunate. I would have thought he would be smarter than that. And yeah, maybe I get a sense from him that he's using that as a shtick, which is awful. Brandon, you think it inspires us to make the humor and comedy we want to see, and to be good people in the process, and to stay vigilant in our morals, to not have our own comedy discredited. Yeah, that's true. They are a negative example of what to aspire to. Adam, you say you wish you could put Louis C.K. in a simulation where he has to watch someone treat his daughters that way. He'd be cured in 2 seconds. Interesting idea. Maybe when the justice system has access to the metaverse, we can perform that kind of punishment for people. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for your thoughts. I'm going to wrap it up. It's 3:20 here in Hawaii, and I don't have my microphone here. I didn't bring it, so I'm just using the computer mic. And I don't know if you can hear the birds and that one dog just then, but it's lovely here. It's very, very nice. Highly recommend visiting Hawaii if you ever get the chance. Okay, everybody. Thanks for watching, and thanks for the conversation. I'm sure we'll all have more thoughts. Feel free to leave them in the comments. And for more videos like this, subscribe to the How to Write Funny YouTube channel. And join me on Facebook at the How to Write Funny Facebook group. And go to howtowritefunny.com for all sorts of free tips on how to improve your comedy. Adam, Nigel, thank you very much for joining. Brandon, thanks for your comments. Hugh, nice to talk to you. And RR, I'm sorry you didn't follow up. Would have been nice to hear. Oh, there it is. Not going to end just yet. Louis is the only comedian who got assaulted for sexually harassing himself. He did ask to beat off after all. The silencing afterwards, which was much more egregious in my opinion, was from his manager. RR, I don't think you understand what it means to be sexually assaulted. If a woman is in a hotel room alone with a man who is more powerful within an industry than she is, and he asks, hey, do you mind if I masturbate in front of you? She's put in a terrible position that every abused secretary and so on has been in since time immemorial. That is an abuse of power, and it is sexual abuse, and it's wrong, and it's awful. And talk to a woman who's been abused. Get educated about it. I think you're minimizing what is a serious thing for someone to have to experience from someone they look up to. And yeah, I mean, having said that, RR, I support your right to still like his comedy. Just like I hope you support everyone's right to not like it or be creeped out by it if they don't want to watch it. So I hope we can all agree on that. I think we're all free speech advocates here. And all right. Thanks for following up on that comment, RR. I appreciate it. And thank you again, everyone, for joining. I'll see you back stateside probably next time I talk to you. All right. Take care.